Michael Labersi. Hey, how you doing today, man?
Good, Dr. Clendenning. What's happening in your universe?
Well, lots of things are happening in our universe. We were talking a little bit before this, and by the way, welcome back to Total Disruption. That's a thing that we're doing all the time. We were talking a little bit, and I was laughing at you. I just want to bring this one. I want to bring this one up because I think this is just hysterical. we were Your son's upstairs playing a game that he's really involved in, and he's talking to the machine like the machine can hear him. And we were mentioning exactly, hey, when you're a parent on the sidelines, that the athletes can't hear you, but we have these opinions. We have these opinions that we feel vocally must be shared to the universe, and at least by getting it out. So I was kind of giggling about that a little bit because you had to, you had to pipe up and kind of holler across the hall, hey, don't be so loud. And the irony was really hysterical. So I just was kind of laughing. So I'm grateful for that this morning. That was a good laugh this morning on my behalf. So I'm super stoked about that. But all right. So here's what I want to talk a little bit about today, and I'll lead you into this. I'll tell you who the people are right now. So my my side of the family, and I need some coaching on this. My side of the family, like the Clendenning side of the universe, every one of them entrepreneurs. Every single person on my side of the universe is an entrepreneur, and working at it and working hard at it and digging into it and doing well, having some failures, doing well, having some failures, going through that standard cycle. My other side, my in-law side of the family, super conservative, super conventional, comes out of that old school. You go to school, you get a job, you stay in that job for 30 years, you retire from that job, you take your pension, and that's what you do. Like that's your entire existence, right? So there's some consternation between the understanding. Yeah, it's a big word for this morning. I know. I probably shouldn't have thrown that one out there.
Wow.
Aggravation, take your pick. Of
Consternation. Somebody reads books. Okay.
somebody books, yeah, I've read one or two.
Dr. Clendenning.
Written a couple, but the understanding piece, right? This is an example of just in my family a thing that goes on, but I know this happens all the time, and I've got other friends that do this, and I know you do too. That live in that. I want to call, man, it's a mean way to say it, but this is how I feel about it. I feel like they're in a bubble. I feel like they're in a box that they don't see any other way other than this ultra conservative methodology that unless you're going to work and you're working a 9 to 5, and that's what you do, and you only have weekends off, and all you do is clean the gutters and rake your yard, and and you yell at the TV when the Broncos are playing or whatever you're going to do. They think that's what life is about. That's what we're doing, and that's what they do. Well, they're doing the same damn thing. They're trading time for money. They just do it in a time clock standard kind of way. But the understanding piece. So I like, where have you run into this, and like how do we? Because I guarantee, like most everybody that's listening to us is on the entrepreneurial path. There's some out there that are listening to us that are currently on their way to go punch a clock, and that's fair. But most everybody is the, how do I become a better entrepreneur? How do I become a better, faster, bigger, stronger, meaner business owner, leader in that space? They feel called to something bigger. How can we help the audience bridge that gap of understanding, between that conventional, man, I want to call it a limited mindset. It's a terrible thing to say, but that's how I feel about it, to where what we're doing. Like, how do we get them?
Well,
How do we help?
well, I think we have to rewind the psychology all the way back. And, I'm not by any means a historian, but if you kind of look at the evolution of the industrial industry, we had the agricultural industry, and you start working from sun up to sundown, right? There wasn't lights, right? Like, so you sort of made hay while the sun shines, if literally.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, that's now an entrepreneurial metaphor for at any time of the day. So when you take a look at that, then you had your industrial revolution, and then you had a bunch of workplace abuse when you started getting people who were working for nothing and wages, and then all of a sudden this box evolved called 9 to 5. Now, there's a couple categories of 9 to 5. I feel like there's that 9 to 5, sub six figure. Then there's the 6 to mid 6, and then there's the 6 and up to 7 figure. And certain people in a 9 to 5 model can be making big cash, but that's not
Mhm.
really how it works in all reality. Like if you're just doing 9 to 5, you're probably low 6 figures. If you're just doing that, I mean, and that's before taxes and not take home. Yeah, okay, benefits. You can argue that. So when you kind of look at the model, what's an easy path to entry? Well, school's set up that way. Workforce is set up that way. Business hours are largely set up that way. I mean, if you kind of just take a look at the quantifiable model of the way that at least the United States works, it kind of works in that cyclical fashion. Okay, we kind of need to wake up, need to do our thing, need to get to work, need to do the job. Not everybody's working from 9 to 5. They're slacking off. If you condense the average workday with a lunch break, it's probably 9 to 3. There's probably 2 hours, if not more, of unproductivity or repeat behaviors or inefficient mechanics. It's kind of this doldrum that everyone fell into. If you look at it from my perspective, it's security. It's a formulaic model. It's not a trailblazer model. And it also speaks to, okay, are you doing what you love or are you working for a paycheck? And just remember the companies that you all are working for, you're actually working for entrepreneurs, right? Like Boeing, Northrop Grumman, AT&T, Verizon, all the people that started these things were entrepreneurs. I mean, yeah, okay, something might have been started by a big business hedge fund, but still entrepreneurs. People with an idea, built a business, took the market, did all the other work, filled customers, put an environment in there that you can service and sell and repeat and reduce and hire and fire, the whole wheelhouse. So if you take a look at that, everyone's actually working for an entrepreneur. Corporations just
Mhm.
have to be entrepreneurial. So where you fall, either you're helping the entrepreneur or you are the entrepreneur. And because of rules and regulations, the entrepreneur can only make you work so long. So with that being said, the entrepreneurial mindset, if you do what you love and you love what you do, it's not like work. And when you're out there and you want to make a difference and you want to impact and you have an idea that you want to monetize, there's where the entrepreneur comes in. It's a person that's a self-starter. It's a person that doesn't think about hours in a workday. They think about hours of availability when they can, right? There's the different mind. I work all throughout the day, but what I do is I take breaks and plug in family, health, shopping, whatever. And yes, there's definitely days where in certain business models that don't play well, like mostly in coaching, not a lot of people want to meet on Sundays. Not a terrible amount of people want to work on Saturdays and meet you on a Saturday, right? Just again, you're working with people that are in those environments. Just because you're working in those environments, back to the layoffs, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be secure. If anything about the real estate bubble, the tech bubble, housing bubble, all the bubbles that always hit, and you have to start to realize when you start to see prices rise of things, you have to realize something's going to crash 6 months to a year later. The
Mhm.
second eggs are more money, the second bread is more money, the second gas goes up a long time, the second I can't believe things are so expensive, the second it's $15 for a crappy sandwich at a deli, you have to realize something's going to hit. It's just going to happen. It always does, always
Yep.
has, and always will. So, in the interim, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, you've got to start to plan for those things. And yes, you can get a lot of security, but to say go get a job, why would I want to go get a job? I would be miserable. Let me think about that. Let me walk you through what a job is. A boss, that's not a customer. I don't mind having customers as bosses.
Mhm.
Okay, or a client
That's
or
a that's a unique that's a critical analogy everybody needs to kind of think about. while you're unpacking this one is you've got your bosses and your manager, the people, the person that tells you what to do and how to do it, but you also have a client or customer that is a boss when
It's a
it comes right
boss.
down to it. Yeah,
They're
that's
your
that's a
boss.
critical distinction.
They're your boss. You have to meet them at a certain time, provide a certain service. You're getting paid to provide said service. You have to retain said customer. And then if customer happens to not want to be with you, you have to part ways with them nicely, right? There's formulas that just that make sure you understand your customers are your boss. Now, they don't necessarily tell you what to do, but the framework of the relationship creates them as somebody you service. So the strength in the entrepreneurial game is you can have 45 bosses versus one. So, or five, depending on the hierarchy of your institution or your government branch you work for. So when you go into, let's put me walking into a building, dress a certain way for the most part, look a certain way for the most part, talk a certain way for the most part,
Mm-hmm.
adhere to hours, have some sort of time check or salary check, and then an obligations list, and then a performance review. Well, there's so many multiple factors. And then what happens when, okay, I'm on a team and I'm working and three people of the team are ineffective? I'm getting paid the same amount of money to do three times the work for the entrepreneur. So, yes, there's a lot of security to working for somebody, insurance benefits, this, that, and the other thing, but it's not really. You could be laid off in a second. And
And we
for
saw that. We just saw in the third quarter of 2025, we saw right just short of 1 million layoffs in almost every single area, with the notable exception of medical. Um, Government layoffs took over a major part of that, and we know why that happened with Doge. And the tech space took a major beating. Um, I actually started researching this, and I know I'm a little off the bunny trail here, and we're going to come back to it. But I actually started research because I was wondering, because I've been watching it. I've seen several large corporations that I coach that were forced to do some massive amounts of layoffs in this, but they're all in different industries. So I started looking at it as, what's the catalyzer, what's the one thing that's going on. And of course, you come up with the standard, well, it's economic conditions, which is kind of a baloney blanket statement, but it's not, that can be true of a lot of things. But there was, to your point of stability of, yeah, 1 million people would disagree right now in the third quarter that having a 9 to 5 is stable. There's 1 million people out there that would say that's not true. Like, they would totally say that right now. So, I mean, and I think the other thing, as you were talking through that real quick, I think the other thing that this conservative bloc doesn't see, right? What they, to your point, is, what they see is, okay, well, you're only coaching, you've only got a roster that's 2 days a week, right? You're working 2 days a week. That's what they see. What they're not seeing is the retention, the lead generation, all the marketing, the all the back office stuff that you're having to do, that you're doing quietly because you're not online doing that. But even that's what people are missing. They're not seeing you work on the business. They're
no,
seeing you work in the business. Same is true of real estate. And I've watched this with a lot of people. I've watched it with a lot of clients, lot of realtors that are couples, and they'll be like, well, geez, you only had one showing this week. You're not working. That's how they feel about it versus, man, you probably put 40 hours worth of lead gen in, and working and going out and networking and doing all these other things. The conventional people don't see that. They just don't see it. They don't recognize that it's there, the additional, business that you have to do. So to your point, yeah, you're going to have days that you're intermixing things in your business, and to their vision, they don't see you sitting down at a desk 9 to 5, staring at a screen, doing one job. They see you, oh, well, I got to go get this fixed, or I got to go do that, or but you've scheduled your universe in such a way to be able to do it.
right.
So there's a bit of perception in that.
Right. And here's the other part of it too. as an entrepreneur, again, everybody's got to have disciplines and routines, but I do a daily now. It used to be like this 2 hour end of the week thing. I just skip doing that. And I kind of have a little bit of a 10-minute schedule review, look back at the day, look ahead to tomorrow, look ahead to next week, and then look ahead like a while. I kind of do that every day now. I feel like the busier my life gets, the more I realize that's a blind spot for me and a weakness. I don't focus enough. If I'm not, now this is custom to me. If I'm not doing that enough, I realize, oh, weeks get away from me. Days, 3, 4 days, 5 days at a time get away from me. And for some reason, my schedule is this weird visual trigger that brings me back to center. I can't tell you why. It's this thing that makes me kind of look at life, and I say, wow, cool. I mean, listen, I even have a flip phone now, one of these folders. It's on the camera here. It's big, right? It's big, and it opens up, and that gives me that nice view. I could do it on an iPad, but I kind of like I don't want to have 3 rituals. I don't want to
Your
go here.
iPad doesn't fit in your pocket. It's a
No,
little less convenient. And then you got to carry the man purse, and that's just going to look
right.
weird on you.
I'm not doing all that. So real quick before we press on, I want to just, again, we've been doing this lately, and we've been getting a little bit of chatter on it, which is good. I want to invite audience members to come on to Total Disruption, join our live Q&A, live coaching with Jake and I, right here. Be on one of our episodes, ask us questions. It's not an interview, right? It's not a promotion for what they're doing. What we want to do is we want to work with real people, show the process, kind of like what we're doing on Battleground, but a real kind of watered down version. I don't say watered down, but a real short segmented technical version. Help somebody out with a problem. And, if they want to put their stuff out there, you put your stuff out there. Sure, you'll get in front of our audience, but the idea is let's demonstrate power. Let's help real people, real impact, and let's help. So what do you want them to do, Jake? DM us on our social.
I would love for them to DM us on our social. I'd love for them to do that. That's perfect. Go check out Total Disruption either on YouTube and find us there. Find us on Facebook. Find us on LinkedIn. Find us on Instagram. If you're not able to find us, you're not looking hard enough. It is not that difficult to hunt us down. Just find us. I mean, you find it, both Mike and I on Facebook. You can find Total Disruption on Facebook. Like, there's lots of ways to do it. And of the all of our viewers, a lot of them are already following us. Like, just DM us, hit us up and go, hey man, I've got a question I'd love to bounce off you guys. And we'd love to have the 10-minute conversation with you on one of the episodes.
Yeah,
In
it'd be
worst
great.
case, go to the website, total-disruption.com, click the contact us button, email us directly. That's pretty easy too.
There you go. So let's get back into this. I think with DC, it started with DC with the administration doing a bunch of layoffs. Then we're not a political statement. And then it's continuing on. We're seeing end of fiscal quarter corporate layoffs. We're seeing a lot of people out of work. Here's another tidbit. People, this is always going to happen. And it's going to happen based on whoever's in office. It's going to happen based on whatever bubble is getting ready to burst. It's always going to happen. It happens all the time. You could point fingers. You could say, hey, this person did that. This administration did that. That's all just chatter, right? It's all chatter. And there's equal and opposite benefits, and there are equal opposite liabilities where everyone's in power. So let's all calm down on that nonsense. And let's take a look at this. Where there's layoffs, there's opportunities. I have a client, and she was in data analysis, and she was working for a subsidiary in the DC metro area for the government, right? A government contract company, and they laid off bazillions of people. So what did she do? Okay, she got her severance, and she started actively looking for a job right away. She took action. She started right away digging in, job hunting, job hunting, job hunting, job hunting. What did she do in the recent weeks? So we're talking a 4-month window, 5-month window. Remember, there's a lot of people out there who got laid off in her same profession in a nucleus. She is beginning to work for her local school district as a data analyst. Now, I I don't know pay, I don't know any of that stuff, but you went from, okay, I have this job. Now I'm not working. I'm a little scared. I don't know what I want to get into. I want to know I want to stay in my same profession. To now I'm going back to a 9 to 5. There's a person though that doesn't want to be an entrepreneur, that wants to be a 9 to 5er, but still has that entrepreneurial spirit. I am going to turn getting a job into my business. And then it's let me keep, retain, and improve what I'm doing at this job because I realize her circumstances would dictate her to have a job, right? She wouldn't be a good fit for an entrepreneur. Not everybody is. It's kind of like extreme mountain biking. Not everyone's a good fit for that. You might
That's the
die.
truth.
Seriously. Like you're
Yeah.
just if you're not built a certain way, trained a certain way, or have a certain level of honed skills to reduce fear and love adrenaline, you're probably not built for it. And that's okay too. But to judge the entrepreneur, to say there's security in the 9 to 5. And my last point, I know I'm kind of running on a little today, but and I'm going to turn this one over to you. With all these layoffs, this is the prime opportunity. Now, I'm not saying it's a good thing. And there's a lot of families affected by it. It's a prime opportunity to shake up complacency. Now, I'm not saying layoffs, we should lay people off in order to shake up complacency. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the circumstances of layoffs are here. The contraction in available areas in certain industries are gone, right? It's contracted. So the opportunities exist for other people to either find like-minded work in a completely different situation, like my client did, right? Found like-minded work, same kind of work, completely different area, and again, local, backyard type stuff. So when I say it's now the time to find opportunities, even if you have no money, what do you think? Here's where that complacency is going to bite you in the ass, if you don't mind me saying.
Mm-hmm.
Here's where that coaching piece comes in. And let's get tactical about this, Jake. I'm going to turn this back over to you. So when I know we kind of veered off from the difference, but I think we covered it. But let's stay here with a tactical piece of advice as we kind of work towards the end of this thing. You're laid off. You're in a space. I'm telling you, this is a prime opportunity for you to seek a different opportunity and prosper. How? What does somebody do? How do you flip years of complacency into, instead of being the victim, woe is me, sense of urgency, 2 minute offense, let's score a touchdown? How do we do that?
All right. So there's two parts to this. So there's I've already been laid off. Okay, let's start there. If I've already been laid off, get into action. And this may not be I'm going to go for the comfortable thing, right? We have 2 minutes left. We need to score a touchdown. This may not have anything to do with, I'm going to use the example. I've been a data analyst in this level. This is a thing that I've done for the last decade. I got laid off. I'm going to go look for the exact same job. I'm going to go look for the exact same thing. Um, you need to think that through, because the reality is if you just got laid off as a data analyst, are they hiring that person in the exact same field, in the exact same sector, in the exact same geography that you're in? Or is that going to put you at risk again for layoffs? So you need to think it through tactically. And it is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to say, you know what? I've been doing that thing. This is an opportunity put in front of me to maybe take those skills, apply them to something different, and just stretch it. Maybe I'm not 100% qualified for that, but that's what I want to do. So that, in this, and this is where I will tie this in overall. So like, use the tools you've got, man. You've got skills, you've got, degrees, you've got accreditations and certifications, and that all looks fabulous and all. And you've got more to it, right? There's more to you than just all those stupid letters behind the end of your name. So where are you looking? What have you always wanted to do? What are you going to stretch out? This is that opportunity to push, and there's tactical ways to do it. One of the things that we're 100% seeing right now is employers are looking at LinkedIn. LinkedIn how it has become this professional vetting space interesting. At some point, I got to think about that. But like, this is for if you've been laid off or if you're very complacent in your current job thinking you're not getting to get laid off. Either way, make sure your LinkedIn profile is current, updated, accurate, and a little bit sexy, so that when people are looking, or if you get an inkling, you get the spidey senses, something, the hackles stand up on your neck, whatever it is, of like, ooh, something feels wonky here. Like I feel a shift. I might get laid off. You can hit this little button that says open to work. Like, get proactive about where you are in your current situation. Mike uses the word complacent, and I think it's absolutely true. Is we all get there. I mean, I know, and I can prepare for it every end of third quarter calendar, end of fiscal year, every year. My coaching roster always takes a beating every single year, because that's when layoffs come up for the next fiscal year. It's a board meeting. Everybody hits the panic button. Every year, somebody falls off the roster because they got laid off every damn time, unless they're an entrepreneur, in which case it doesn't matter. But if they're in a corporate setting and working towards executive levels or wherever they are, I want you guys to understand this isn't layoffs at skip levels. This isn't, they laid off all the cashiers at the retail stores. Layoffs are every level, all the way through the company. We've seen presidents get released because of it. We've seen, every single level takes a beating. So don't feel, when you get too comfortable and too complacent in your space, whether you're in a 9 to 5er or you're an entrepreneur, like, if you're getting super comfortable in where you are, you're setting yourself up for a beating. You are setting yourself up to fail. You've always got to be improving. We're not put on this planet to just get a job, do that job, and pay bills and die. That is not the purpose of us as an organism or a faith driven being. Take your pick of however you want to define yourself. That is not the point. This is not the point of why you're here. If that's the point of why you're here, you've got more to worry about than your LinkedIn profile. You probably need to go out and find a bigger why. So that's me on the soapbox for a minute. But the easy, simple, tactical first thing you need to do, you should always be updating your resume. You should always be updating your LinkedIn profile. And be careful about your social media profiles, especially, I mean, it doesn't matter where you are, because if you're getting wildly political and one-sided on things, guess who's looking at your profile? Everybody, including future employers, including future clients, and they're going to judge you. So I'm not saying don't be you, but I'm saying be careful with the extremity of it. Extremity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're out of time, man. Thanks for tuning in to Total Disruption. DM us on our socials, total-disruption.com. Tune in next time. We'll expand this topic and others. For Dr. Jay Clendenning, I'm Mike Laversi. Now it's your turn to